Hello everyone, this is Renier, and today's lesson will be about a recent game played by Alexander Husman and M.Adams. The game was played in the European Team Championship, and very interesting game in my opinion, as usual with M.Adams playing a simple style. M.Adams is playing black, and he played the Bow Indian defense. Knight f3, bishop b4. Now main response is bishop d2, but knight vd2 is the positional line that many players prefer this move, and I think it's probably one of the most promising responses. I mean, you have to know what to do with black, because white simply wants to keep the bishop pair, then play e3, develop the bishop from c1 to b2, and usually keeps a small advantage. However, if black wants to play for a win, okay, there are many moves you can play here, b6 for example, but if black wants to complicate things, probably the best choice in my opinion is castling right now. This is what M.Adams played. Now, white can make several moves. For example, g3, queen c2, to which black can play d5 or e3, and black will probably go d5, later c5, with typical play from the Nimzo Indian or Bogo Indian defense, very similar. So the critical test after knight vd2 castle is a3 followed by e4. Now, okay, black keeps the bishop with bishop e7, and now white plays e4. This is considered critical. And before we go into this, let's see some sidelines. For instance, queen c2 is a unusual move order. Then we can try two moves. One is c5, and after d takes c5, bishop takes c5. Now if b4, bishop back to e7, e4, d6, we have already a position that perhaps is slightly better for white, but black certainly will have a counterplay. He can start preparing his normal setup by playing like this, then b6, bishop b7, rook c8. Usually white has more space, but black is solid, and I believe there are good chances for finding counterplay. That is the main purpose of this variation. The other idea is to play e3 right now instead of b4. Then after bishop e7, same thing, bishop e2, b6, bishop b7. Now if white plays b4, since black has not played d6, well, he can play d6 and knight bd7, but with the pawn on e3, white's position is more solid than it was with the pawn on e4 as in the previous variation. So here perhaps a good idea is to start with a5, trying to create a hole on c5. That would be an interesting idea. Now if white plays b5, then d6, or d5 and knight bd7, both ways are possible, and put a knight on c5. Okay, c5 is an interesting continuation, but black can also play d5. And now, very important is, if white goes for a Catalan setup with d3, then b6, bishop d2, bishop b7, knight bd7. This is normal play when and then c5. It looks like black equalizes easily. If queen b2, c takes d4, queen takes d4, knight e4, threatening bishop f6 now, bishop b2, bishop f6, queen e3, take, and there is nothing really to play 4 for either side, the position is roughly equal. Okay, so after d5, e4 is probably the most dangerous response. And now c5. This is White's idea, Black's idea when in this variation, when he keeps the bishop on e7, he gives the center, but then he strikes in the center with d5 and c5 no matter what. Now after e5, knight d7, we're going to have a position that we will analyze a little bit deeper on the main game. But after d takes e5, this is one of the dangerous ideas from White. Then d takes on e4, knight takes, and queen takes on e4. Now, okay, if bishop takes on c5, White can play bishop f4 and rook d1, and he has some space advantage. Perhaps Black should play f5 immediately, and after queen e3, something like bishop f6 to avoid the development of White's queen side, and after bishop e2, maybe knight c6 followed by e5. Okay, Black is down a pawn, but I believe that e5 is a serious threat because you're playing e4 and then bishop d4 or knight d4, in any case with good compensation for a pawn. So this is a position to be played yet. It's not, f5 is a new move, but I think it's pretty good. Okay, after, instead of d takes e5, White can play e5, then knight d7, bishop d3, h6, forced. Now if, well, White can play b4 here, but this is not a very good move because Black can take, and then knight c6. This is a very important move because no matter what White plays now, the knight is going to b4. After b5, knight b4, d takes e4. There is now a hole on d5, and now a5 followed by knight b6. Black has a very good position. For instance, castle, knight b6, bishop e2, and now queen d5. Then bishop d7, rook c8. Not to mention there is the a pawn that is very annoying. Okay, so the simplest is just to castle, and now knight c6. If c takes d5, e takes d5. Okay, Black usually has this structure with the isolated pawn on d5, but White's center is not easy to hold, and if he takes on c5 after knight takes c5, all of the Black pieces are coming to play very quickly. For instance, rook e1, a5, and now d takes e5, knight takes e5, knight b3. And interesting is to play rook e8 or bishop g4. If knight d4, a4. Okay, already Black is better here with the bishop pair. Okay, these central pawns are very strong, so if instead knight bd4, I think this is a little better than rook c8, h3, bishop h5, knight f5, bishop g6. The light square bishop is very powerful and compensates for the weakness of the d5 pawns. So it's really an easy position to play with Black. What options does White have here? Well, okay, one idea is to sacrifice the d4 pawn and go for an attack on the king side, but it doesn't really work because c takes d4, and after knight g3, the knight is coming to c5 anyway. Bishop f5, a4, bishop f4, and now d3. Already Black has serious threats like knight, bishop takes f3, knight d4, if bishop e2 now, then knight e6 for example, and after bishop d2, bishop c5, with the idea of queen b6. You can see that black has very active play. If rook d1, as in the game, then knight e6, and now queen d2 was a mistake, because after bishop takes on f3, knight d4, queen e3, then g5, the bishop is trapped. This is a game by Walter Brown with the white pieces against Makarychev, 1985, but it's still very interesting game. Okay, let's go back to the main game, which Alexander Husman with the white pieces. Michael Adams, a3, bishop e7, e4 was played. Michael Adams played d5, e5, knight d7, and now b4. Okay, the idea of this move is, well, to restrain black's development on the queen side, because now black cannot play c5 so easily. First he must play a5, and now when white plays b5, the knight from b8 cannot come to c6 anymore. So okay, but still black's idea is simple: c5, bishop b2. If bishop d3, then c takes d4 quickly, and after queen c2, a6, bishop b2, knight c5, bishop a7, king h8, bishop takes d4, and then b6. Black has a very good position. C takes d5, e takes d5, castle. Okay, this is a game by Potkin against Yordachescu in 2008. Remember what black played here exactly, but here is a new idea, and it's very interesting. Queen e8 is a strange move, but is very interesting because black has an eye on b5 now, but also g6 is a serious threat, because now white cannot sacrifice on g6. So bishop d3, and now bishop e6, rook c1, knight bd7, a4, knight takes e3, queen takes, and knight c5, with probably an equal position at least. The knight on c5 is very strong. Black has the bishop pair. Rook c8 is coming, queen d7, and the bishop may go to f5 someday. So these are the ideas that you can play in this type of positions. Okay, bishop b2 is the move played in the game. C takes d4, and now bishop takes d4. Other move that has been played in this position is bishop e2, but black's idea remains the same. The knight goes to c5, and after bishop d4, knight bd7, castle, b6. Usually when black plays b6 is the right moment to take on d5, because if white delays this move any longer, black will play bishop b7 and capture with the bishop on d5. So c takes d5, e takes d5, rook e1, bishop b7, queen b1, rook e8, bishop d1, looking for transferring the bishop to a more active diagonal, bishop f8, g6, a4, rook c8. Black has everything under control. He will play bishop g7, put pressure on e5, and eventually knight e6 and knight d7 to c5. This is another game played by two grandmasters in 2007. Black's position looks very solid, and I really like this arrangement of pieces. When he gets to play bishop g7, knight e6, and knight d7 to c5, everything looks very good. Okay, let's go back to the game. Husman played bishop takes d4, knight c5, queen c2, and now Michael Adams knight bd7. Okay, bishop e2, b6, and here, for some reason, Husman played a4, which I think is a slight imprecision in this position, perhaps even a mistake. He should have played the only move I think for white here is c takes d5, and after e takes d5 castle, bishop b7, rook e1 with similar play to what we saw before. Now if rook c8, queen b2, knight e6, bishop e3, and knight d to c5. Also interesting is bishop c5, confronting the bishop on e3. Now if knight d4, you can take, and queen h4. After bishop takes e5, knight c5, knight f3, queen h6. Black has good play indeed. The knight on c5 is powerful. You want to play rook d8, maybe d4. Queen d4 is impossible because there is knight b3. I don't know. It's interesting play. Maybe rook e8, or and then I'm thinking that perhaps even f6 at some point. Well, like I said before, bishop e3, either bishop c5 or knight d c5, they both look very good. Okay, after a4, the problem with this move is that black plays bishop b7, and now he has no weakness at all. Now he will always capture on d5 with the bishop, and all of his pieces are very active. The c5 is open for the rook on c8, and the a4 pawn is always attacked by the knight on c5. So it's always something that white must take care of. Then castle, rook c8, rook c1, h6. Typical M.Adams making prophylactic moves, perhaps simple moves, avoiding any complications. Here there was an interesting line that was knight d4 immediately. Then after bishop d3, okay, the idea is that the c4 pawn is now pinned. The other knight is coming to c5. Taking on e4 shouldn't be very good. I think because the other knight comes to c5, or even knight takes e4, d takes e4, knight d2, black has bishop g5. That's another idea. Or even bishop c5, offering the trade of bishops, and if white takes, knight takes e5, the e4 pawn is defended forever, and the knight on c5 can never be challenged from that square. So I think bishop d3 would be the best, pinning the knight now, and after knight d2, bishop h7, king h8, and bishop c5. Bishop takes, knight takes. Now that this knight is quite strong, and after bishop d3, d takes e4, bishop takes e4, and queen g5, with a double attack on g2 and e5. And after g3, only move, queen takes on e5, black has a clear advantage. Clear advantage because of his knight on c5 and the bishop on b7. They are both very powerful. The knight always attacking the a4 pawn. The queen on c2 is tied to the defense of this pawn. And simply black will play rook fd8, queen f6, or queen g5 back, or queen h5, and I start creating threats. Okay, but this is not Adams' style, I must say. This is more his style. h6, try to improve his position step by step. White doesn't have anything immediately, so queen a2, getting out of the c file and also defending the pawn on a4, and now knight e4. C takes d5, bishop takes d5, and now white was probably forced to play rook c8. The alternative was bishop c4, which is logical to trade this bishop on d5, is very strong, but then after knight d2 and bishop c5, very good move, white is still in trouble because if bishop takes d5, then bishop takes d4, and black wins the e5 pawn. And if bishop c5, then rook takes e5, and again the e5 pawn is probably lost. Okay, rook takes c8, queen takes c8, bishop c4, now knight takes e2. Probably bishop a8 was also a good answer. Then after knight e4, bishop takes e4, knight e2, and bishop a8. This bishop on a8 is very strong. The knight is now going to c5, queen b7, rook d8. Looks beautiful for black. However, Adams found another solution. He took on d2, and after knight takes, bishop c5. Same idea that I was showing before. If bishop takes d5, then bishop takes d4, and black wins the e5 pawn. Even if there are opposite color bishops, there are too many pieces on the board, so it's not a matter of concern for black. Bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, and now e takes e5. Okay, you may think that this pawn isolated doesn't look very good, but the problem is that white is very passive. He must defend a4. The d5 pawn is not easy to attack, and also the square c5 is a good outpost for either the queen or the knight, so it's not very easy position for white, I think. And I think the e5 pawn is even weaker than the d5 pawn. Knight f3, rook e8, and now rook d1 was played by Husman, like probably a mistake too. Instead, queen b2 seems better. Preparing rook c1 is logical. White must play active. He must do things like play h3, rook c1, and then try to create active play. Of course, black has a very good answer here, that is d4, freeing the square d5 for the queen. And if queen takes d4 and rook takes e5, in this position still black has reasons to play for a win. Now he's threatening rook e4, and if after f3, knight c5, he's attacking the a4 pawn with ease. And rook d5 and rook d2 is a plan. I think black has chances to win. Rook d1 is the move played in the game, losing the pawn after knight takes e5, queen takes e5. The problem with this idea is that now black has a great move, and suddenly white is in deep trouble. For example, M.Adams played queen c2. This is the thing about M.Adams. If you look at the position, his structure is completely equal, but now he's just killing with simple moves. At this level, you don't see this very often, and he's one of the grandmasters that does this on probably, I don't know, 80% of his games. They are not very complicated. They are simple chess and logical chess in general. After queen c2, he's attacking a4. Also, there is a problem in the back rank with the white king. If white takes on e5, after rook takes e5, white will lose the a4 pawn. Queen d4, rook e4, then queen d5, rook f4, very important move. Then after rook f1, queen a4, check, and now rook b4. You can see this endgame. Now if queen b7, attacking f7, black wouldn't take on b5, he would play queen b3. The b5 pawn is lost anyway. He would play a4, a3, and probably a2. So queen c7 is better, but then after queen b5, queen f7, the queen on b5 controls the check on f5, and after rook b1, white is not that he's in a worse endgame or anything like that. He's lost. Rook b1, he must resign. So it's a very precise calculation. It's not just winning a pawn and having a better endgame. In this position, black is clearly winning. Okay, after knight takes on e5, Husband didn't play knight takes on e5. He went queen d4, attacking b6. Okay, but this allows black to open the white king with knight f3, g takes, and now rook e6, defending b6, and also with the idea of rook g6 at some point. Now he went king h1, perhaps the final mistake. Best defense was almost impossible to find. Best defense was very ugly move h4. Then after queen e2, another ugly move. Is not easy to defend the f3 pawn, because in case that white plays a move like queen d3, then rook g6 and queen takes on f2. So the second ugly move was king h2, hoping for queen takes on f3, queen d8, king h7, queen d3, takes, rook e4, king g3, and rook d6. After h5, f3, we have this endgame that could be a draw. Yeah, it could be a draw if the pawns on the queen side disappear, both of them, which probably they will. Okay, the question is whether black has anything else on this position, knowing Adams probably, I don't know, some move, perhaps, I don't know, g6 or something like that he might play. I don't know, perhaps this was the last defense that white had. Even down a pawn he had some drawing chances, but instead he played king h1, and then after queen e2 things were completely different, because if now he plays queen d8, black doesn't have to play king h7, he goes rook e8, and after queen d3 the pawn on f2 is hanging. This is the problem. So after queen e2 he had to play h3. White is almost in a 6-1 position. h3 to give the king some air, and after queen f3, king h2, rook e4. If rook g6, white has rook g1, so this is stronger. Then queen takes b6, queen d8. Queen d8 was the option, but after king h7, how to defend f2? If queen d3, queen f2, king h1, f5, simply win. If rook d2, then rook a4, pawn for nothing, and still white cannot even take b6 because of queen f4 and queen takes d2. So in the game he played queen takes b6 and simply lost the rook, and this obviously after queen d1 resigned this position. There is nothing here. Okay everyone, I hope you enjoyed this game. This is one very interesting line to play with black. I thought it was a good game, and because it shows that black can also play for a win in without going for the risky openings like Benoni, King's Indian, or I don't know. He plays there are lines to play chess still, you know what I mean. Okay, thanks for watching. Leave your comments on the forum and see you in my next video. Bye.